Welcome to the Touring Crew Career Resume Workshop, the Touring Resume Workshop. So I'm stoked that you guys are interested in kind of learning the differences of touring resumes and conventional resumes, because they are different. They're actually substantially different, and you can really wear out a touring hiring person by showing them a conventional resume. It can actually not help your case selling yourself, and also deter you from actually getting considered because of all of the information that you're putting on a conventional resume that a touring resume doesn't need. So just want to put that out there, that this is going to, if you've never seen this, this is going to probably blow your mind. Okay, because I am going to show you this format on how to, in one page, put a like in my case, a 20-year tour career all on one page. And so it's pretty cool. It's a very easy format to read, to look at. It's pleasing. There's some flexibility, by the way, with design. I just want to tell you that you're going to be able to personalize this. So don't get hyper focused and hyper caught up on the look, because I am showing you resumes that from a design aspect are very basic. So just want to give you that. And then also, lastly, to preface this, you know, I've spent 21 years in this industry, and it hasn't been until probably the last 7 that I've even had to kind of create resume. And then when I started as a production manager, gosh, I guess it's probably been 7 or 8 years ago. So I say 7, it's probably a little longer now, but I started to look at a lot of resumes. And as a tour manager, a lot of resumes. I mean, now I've probably looked at a good 200 or 300 tour resumes. And I got to tell you, if you guys can just get this format down, you are going to be miles ahead of everyone that's offering up these resumes. So why the heck are you sending out a resume? First of all, you got to know why you're sending out a resume. You know, a resume is a first glance. A resume is a statement from you saying, this is, in short, my collective experience. Okay. No one is expecting a resume to tell your story. No one is expecting a resume to show the depth at which you can bring quality to the work. Okay. So just understand, that's like in these conventional resumes where they list out so many micro pieces of information that are irrelevant in touring. Really, you know, I'm going to focus on touring with this, but reality is a resume is supposed to do just that. It's supposed to be you saying, this is who I am. Okay. And then having the references on it saying, yep, that's exactly who they are. Okay. So that's why we're creating resumes, as just a statement of validity, a statement of credibility. It is not supposed to be a stamp of who you are. Okay. Just really want to drive that home. So you're not overthinking this. Okay. Because to this day, I've probably actually had to show my resume maybe like 4 different times. All right. Every single time, from the production managers and the managers that have seen these resumes, they go, whoa, man, like, these are awesome. You did this. Like, I'm telling you, this resume format is so smart. It is so effective. All right. And it is literally a pleasant thing to look at. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. I know it's weird. Okay. So the thing I want you guys to really focus on when it comes to these tour resumes is what you're going after. I actually have a couple of different resumes. You know, I have a backline resume that's kind of like backline stage management. And I kind of have my backline production and tour management resume that elaborates and you know, not everything crosses over. It's important to understand that your resume is a statement of credibility relative to what you're going after. If you can do audio, lighting, video, CARPs, but you're going out for a video position, you don't have to put all of that stuff on there. Okay. We're going to get there and dive into it when I'm actually showing you on the sheet. But just know that a resume for touring is very specific. So you might have a couple of resumes relative to the directions that you're headed and when. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into this resume. I've got one pulled up here that I want to share with you. This will be cool. Can everybody see this? Everybody can see this just fine. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So, this top part, this is called the header. Okay. And I just want to reiterate, don't get hung up on design. If you want some little outline, if you want to even put your little photo up top, you know, like not cheesy, but like smartly or classy or whatever from a design standpoint, you can do that if you want to add that. Okay. But these that I'm going to show you are must-haves. You have to have this stuff. Who you are, big up top. What's your name? You know, that should be the biggest thing on the sheet because that's who they're hiring, right? They need to know your name. Too many of these resumes I see where the name's small, the title's bigger. Okay. Right under your name, you need your association because they want to associate your name with what you do. Or in this case, what a resume's point is what you're going out for. Because again, some of you, and I get this, that you might be vastly experienced in all areas of production, but what are you building a resume for? That's what you put underneath there, okay? Meaning I've got backline tech and production manager, okay? This is my backline and production manager resume, all right? This resume, I'm specifically mainly going out for production manager gigs. The reason why I'm putting backline tech is because so they can see the transition from backline to production manager, and so it's not an odd jump. Because anytime you're trying to reach out to production management opportunities, it's understood that you came from somewhere in production. It might have been lighting, it might have been video, it might have been audio, and then you're moving into production management. And so, or sometimes tour management. Understand that that's what this is all about. You know, if I decided to continue production management one day and I started to get more and more production management jobs, eventually my next level of resume would be to remove backline tech and it would be all production because I wouldn't need it at that point. Okay. So understand right under your name is your association, the thing you're going out for. What is it? Video engineer. Now let's talk about that though. Let's talk about the actual, you might be going out for video engineer. Okay. But you also can put LED tech, camera operator, like all the relative things. You know what I'm saying? If you're going out for an LD position, you can absolutely put dimmer tech, you know, those relevant things, right? Whatever that might be in your realm. Here, I've got backline tech. No questions, please, till the end. Here, I've got backline tech. That's because if I was actually specifically maybe going out for guitar tech role for like some reputable guitar tech, I might actually remove backline and put guitar tech because I understand that's my association. Here's an example. Here's a time that I recently had to send my resume out. This resume, I got an opportunity to go tech guitars for one of the guitarists for Bon Jovi, high profile, super top musician. And he wanted to see the resume. He's like, well, who's this young guy that I've never heard of, worked with in the past, you know? And so what I did was I gave him a resume that was like this, but I switched it to guitar tech. And so in his mind, it's like, yes, I'm a backline tech, but I wanted him to know that I'm going out for a guitar tech position. I wanted him to know that that's what I'm leading with. So for instance, let's just say that you got an opportunity to be a front of house engineer and you're going out as a front of house engineer. Okay. It's specifically front of house. You know, yes, you could put front of house monitors, systems engineer. But I think if you're going to go out for a front of house position, that's like high level and it's like necessary that it's known that you're a focused front of house engineer, say like a Bon Jovi or something like that, where they're only wanting people that are focused on that discipline. And by the way, if you know what I'm talking about focus on the discipline at this level, a monitor engineer at the high levels of touring, a monitor engineer will just do monitors. And in fact, they'll probably just do monitors their whole career. And so it's the same thing with front of house engineers. And so on a resume, right up under your name, it should be what you're going out for. Now, you need to know that this is relative to the types and levels of touring, okay? And so for instance, if I was going out as a front of house engineer, say, for a smaller artist, I'm happily able to put things like front of house, monitors, systems engineer, right? Like that would make sense because it's not such a high profile targeted front of house role. You know, they need an audio team member, you know, essentially on some of these smaller gigs. So you really need to know, does this make sense, guys? You really need to know, what is this resume doing? Like you're putting your stamp of credibility and validity, but what is this resume actually doing for you? You know, and who's seeing it? Like all of those things matter on the back end of these things. And we haven't even got past just the title, guys. I want you to understand the importance of this because you only get one opportunity at a first impression, right? You only get one chance at a first impression. And if I'm going out for a high profile guitar tech gig, like I recently got asked to go guitar tech for Joe Perry with Aerosmith. That one, same deal. I put guitar tech because I want as much association to that high profile thing as possible. But if I was going out for like, say, you know, a tech position with, say, Carrie Underwood, where I know that tech for Carrie Underwood actually does guitars, keys, and some other stuff, I would put backline tech on there. Does that make sense? So it's really important to really know your association and what you're actually going to submit this resume for. So hopefully that's helpful. Directly under that, put your contact information, okay? Your email, your phone number are the two must-haves, all right? Your email and your phone number. So it needs to be your name, what you're going out for or what you're after, your email and your phone number right at the top. Simple, clean. I also add one of my social medias because my social media is public. If they were to go view my social media, it allows them to see my face, see me on video. They see my post. It actually adds another layer and ability for me to present myself, to sell myself. There's a really good chance we have mutual friends. And so, hey, listen, if I can give them a gift of going ahead and finding me on Facebook, you know, it only helps me out. But that's because I have my social resume set up, which we are going to talk about after we get through the written resume. But put your social handle on there. If you're a lighting designer, put your website portfolio on there. You know, you can even say my portfolio, you know, my lighting designs, and then have the link. And being a PDF, guys, you can actually put a hyperlink. You know, it's like my email address is a hyperlink if they want to, you know. I probably should have put that with the Facebook, but you can absolutely on a PDF put a hyperlink. Why not? To your portfolio like that. So how does that sound? Everybody understand the header? Make sense? Cool. All right. I'm going to move this up. And I want you guys to check out the next section. Right after the header, you need to get right into what companies or artists that you've worked with and the duties, okay? This is a section that people get it wrong. Especially in the early days, people will get this wrong, okay? We're talking about tour resumes, guys. So understand that on tours, We know what a video director does, a video engineer does. We know what a stage manager does generally. We know what a guitar tech or a backline tech duties might be. Production manager. It's most of these venues, these tours, we've all been to them, right? Like, this is where you don't have to share so much information. Like, it is not necessary for you to indulge in, like, here you go. Trace Atkins, stage manager, backline, set up drums, placed risers, managed stagehands. You know, like, there's no need for me to list all that out. If I'm a production manager or a tour manager, it is absolutely understood for me. If I look at this and I go, okay, he was a stage manager, he did backline, he did stage manager, backline, keys, okay, drums, keys. That explains everything. I don't need to know the depths of each individual role and position that I did, what those responsibilities were. It's kind of understood the general responsibilities. There might be a few little specifics that you did that were quirky or that were cross-departmental, but generally we understand, okay? There's a level of responsibility and with every single position that you have done and will do, and it's understood, okay? Let's just say that you're just getting started, and really what you're doing is you're going from production company to touring, okay? Well, in this regard, by the way, up top, what you would put is, by the way, I want to actually point that out real quick, is right here. If you're a local production person, specialist, and you're looking to get on tour and then you're applying for your first tour company, right here, you would list those specialties that I'm talking about. So video and those few specialties, the ones that you're actually proficient in the shop or locally is what you'll list up here. It doesn't mean that you have to tour it. Okay. That's where you're headed. Just wanted to point that out. And then what you would do here is, in this case, you would list out the stagehand company, because there's probably a stagehand company that you worked with. And so you would put stagehand, fork op, you know, and the name of the company. You don't have to go and indulge. And by the way, here's another thing that stagehands make the mistake of. Stagehands start listing the shows or the festivals that they've worked, okay, just to fill up the white space. It is not accurate. It is not the way to do it. And it looks very amateur of you listing all of that stuff out. What you do is you list the stagehand company and that you've worked with, and then you write out stagehand. Maybe you did, I don't know, A1 with them at some point. Maybe you run a you know, or a fork op, you know, that might be appropriate, but that's really about it. You know, you don't have to kind of go into, well, I worked this festival with the, you know, this festival, that festival, this show, that show. Cause look, come on, there's a lot of gigs out there. It's about the role. Okay. In this part, the reason why people a lot of times do that is because they're so afraid to have white space on the resume. But the reality is white space on the resume is not a negative. It is not a bad thing, because understand that you can only apply for what you're right for that next level. And so there's grace given here. As long as you put the right pertinent information and you're right for the gig, don't worry about the white space around. I've got 20 years on one page. You know what I'm saying? And so in this case, if you were the stagehand or you were the local person trying to reach out to that tour company, you would put your stagehand company. Then you would also put your production company, the name of the production company. In that case, you can put that you did lighting, audio, video, and such, you know, that you did full production crew as those responsibilities and duties, right? Because you did, because we'll get to where you specialize a little bit lower in the resume, okay? So can you see here how many, like, guys, this is a lot of artists. I don't even have all of them. And that's another thing too, is if you have a lot of artists or a lot of companies, you know, it doesn't necessarily is not a negative to have a lot of artists, things like that, especially like in pop and stuff like that. It's understood that we bounce from tour to tour to tour. And the reality is, here's another thing. If you want to, by the way, somebody asked me about dates. If you want to put dates, The reason why I don't is because I literally have relationships with every single one of these artists still in good rapport. And at any point, I might still get to go work with them, you know. But what I often suggest is right at artists worked with and duties. If you wanted to right here, you could absolutely, in my case, I could put started in 2001 to current. You know, that's how I would do that. I would just kind of show the timelines, 2001 to current, you know, and it goes with the companies too. If you really wanted to get micro with the dates and put the start and the end date generally next to each one, you could, but personally, that's what I would, this is how I approach the resume, is because it's not so hardcore on like, okay, when did they work with these people or these companies per se? So if I put, and I'm not sure why I didn't on this, I think I have it on my other ones, but I put 2001 to current right here. And so, but that is a personal choice. If you wanted to put, I couldn't really go back and look at all of these, because some of these tours I did in between others, you know, like for instance, Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande, when I would take a couple of months off in between those tours, I would fill it in with some of these other runs and these other tours. And like I said, that's why I say like I can work with any of these artists. And that's why I put like 2001 to current. And so from a date perspective, but especially if you're early on, it'll be easy. You can just say stagehand, and you can usually with the stagehand company, by the way, it's a freelance labor list. So you can always put started this month to current, you know what I mean? For the stagehand companies, because I mean, you're a freelancer for them as long as you're still freelancing with them. Here's another thing too. If you look at my resume here, you notice that I never put anything early career. I didn't put my stagehand companies that I worked with. I didn't put the production companies that I freelanced with. And the reason why is because where I'm at in my career and my resume. If I was early on, like the person that I was just mentioning, that's going from local specialty to tour company, or maybe they've been a runner or a merch seller or a VIP rep or something like that, then, you know, you put those things on there progressively, you know, even with the artists that I've worked, Joe Nichols, Van Hunt, there's some artists on here that are not on my list because I've had to knock them off. I've had to knock them off and prioritize what artists actually go on there. You know, so, and another thing too is be careful with those artists. Like for instance, I just recently worked with Korn. Guys, I did a week with Korn. I took care of Monkey for 3 shows. I'm not going to put Korn on my resume. I toured with him for a week, but it was a sub date. I was just filling in. It really wasn't my gig. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? You know, so I didn't put Korn on my resume. All the ones that are on my resume, those were my gigs. Those were my gigs. You know, yes, I've done some one-offs. I've done a lot of one-offs with different artists that are not on here, but one-offs are not part of my tour resume because these were my tours. You know what I mean? These were my artists that I actually toured with, and I took ownership of a role here. Just wanted to point that out. And so, but you notice, because of where I'm at in my career in the one pager, I didn't have to put my old stuff on there anymore. And then of course, by the way, last thing on this section, when you are a stagehand and local production and you're ready to kind of take that or runner or merch or whatever, and you're ready to take that to the touring level, like you don't put your past jobs before stagehand on there. Like I know you want to fill up the white space, but you don't put Dunkin' Donuts or Walmart or construction work. You know, you don't put that stuff on there. You know, you just start at stagehand. You start when you're in the industry. Hopefully that answers some questions there. Okay, let's see. So the next section, this guys is a really important one. This is a 2-column section. You can do this in a variety of ways. So this is where you start to kind of divulge what you've actually brought to from the experience, what you gain from the work, what types of experience, more than responsibilities of the titles. This is the stuff that matters to touring, hiring touring people. Okay. This is the stuff. What did you actually, through that experience, through the responsibilities, what did you come away with? You know, what are the things that you learned, that you gained, that are assets, that are skills that you can apply to the role? So for me, I've got instrument care experience. Well, that's because in backline is instruments. So for you, your instruments would be relative to your world. So if it was, you know, merch, maybe you've got, certain other skills like at venue and Excel and just right. You see what I'm saying? Video, you might have certain servers and media servers and certain switchers and things like that that are actually in audio. It's very easy, right? Are you an XXL guy? Are you are you a Digico person? Like, what is your instruments? What are the things that you have experience on from a gear standpoint on the left side, on this instrument care experience side? This is where, if you don't have that, these can merge. Okay. I want you to know that these can merge. All right. The skills, the direct care of specifics. This is a mergeable section. All right. Because some of your experience might be skills. So you might say your skills are the SXL, or, I've forgotten the name of some of these, components of these different areas, but, does that make sense? So for instance, on the skills section, let's look at this. This is, remember, I'm going out for backline and production management. All right. For backline only, rack and pedal board and loom building, setups of instruments, basic Ableton. Here's another one too on the skills section. Basic Ableton. Don't lie. Basically what I mean by don't lie is I actually know a little bit of Ableton. Okay. I don't know a lot of Ableton. Let me just tell you, like, I am not an Ableton expert. Okay. But I do know Ableton. I know basic Ableton. I can, like, add a click and fly in a stem, but like, that's about it, and press space bar. I know basic Ableton. And in fact, because I put basic Ableton on a resume once, or on this resume, I was able to get a production manager gig that needed somebody to also run Ableton for the role. And so it literally allowed me to do that. Now, I was very transparent with the person. I said, hey, I know basic Ableton. This is the extent of it. If I was an expert in Ableton, I would put Ableton expert. Or if I felt like I was beyond basic, but I'm no crazy expert, I would put Ableton proficient. You see what I'm saying? There's levels to which you can disclose your proficiency on here. You know what I mean? I'm Ableton proficient. I'm an Ableton expert, right? Stage management, stage hand management, truck packing and endorsement, relations management. I don't know why that's on the same line. That shouldn't be. Master Tour proficient, Stage Plot Pro proficient. These are just some things that I'm speaking language. Understand, when you say things like Master Tour proficient, Stage Plot Pro proficient, like, I am just speaking a language that if a tour manager that was looking at my resume with a manager to consider hiring me for a production management position, they would look at this and be like, oh, okay, he's in our game. These are some vernacular and terminology like Stage Plot Pro. You don't know about Stage Plot Pro unless you've been whipping up stage plots on it. And that's just what a lot of these PMs use, right? Same thing with Master Tour and all of that stuff, but it's just relevant skills. Truck packing, it's a skill. Truck packing is a skill, right? Stagehand management, labor management, or crew management is a skill. And the skills pertain. You know what I mean? The skills pertain. If I was going out for a video engineer position, just because I know stagehand management doesn't mean I throw it up on my, or stage management doesn't mean I need to throw it on my resume. Remember, it needs to be specific. Don't just fluff up skills because you're trying to add skills to your resume. Does that make sense? So just understand that your skills, your instrument care experience, all of that can merge right here in this section to one column. What I want you to do is, with your skills and your instrument care or your gear care experience, I want you to make a long list. Like, I want you to brain dump this stuff. Like, you have different skills in every area, and you really need to dig in and think about things in your area. If you're a VIP rep and a runner or a VIP person, you're trying to go out for tour management and all that stuff, those are different skills that you're going to list. You're going to list things like CRM management, maybe, show settlement, right? Like maybe some of the softwares used like at Venue and some of those things like that, right? Like you're going to list these skills. They're going to be relative to you. So it's important that you just brain dump all of this and then list it out. It can put skills and gear experience, however you want to title it, but then just list it out in this section. Don't fluff it. Don't lie. That's what I got. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So the next section below this is, and look at the way we've done this, guys. We've got our header, who we are, what we do, how to reach us, maybe a portfolio link, right? Maybe a little social resume. Then it's like who we've worked with. Then it's like, what experience and skills do we have from that work? And what do you think the next section would need to be then? Well, we need somebody to say, yep, they are exactly all those things. And this is where you put your references, okay? I always put contactable references. Don't not put a cell phone number or a telephone number, okay? They're going to ask you. One of the biggest pet peeves that I have, that other tour hire people have, is when people go references upon request. It's like, who are you anyways? Who are your references that they have to be so damn private? Like, come on. Put your freaking contactable references on your resume. What are you hiding? You're asking them to take one more step and ask you, oh, hey, by the way, can you send me those resumes or references too? Send it to them confidently. Put contactable references. Another thing about your references is make sure they're relative references. At every reference that you have on the bottom of your resume, every one of them needs to be able to look up at your resume and say, yes, they are all that they said they are. But not every reference has to confirm the whole resume. They need to confirm parts of it or the whole resume. I mean, hey, it'd be great. So in my case here, I've got a tour manager, a fellow tour manager from SEAL when I was his production manager. That makes sense, right? I directly worked with him as a tour manager. I was his PM. Perfect, freaking perfect perspective on validity, right? Then I did Perry here, who is a manager at Red Light, and that one I production managed, well, and tour managed, but for this resume, it was production managed, Amos Lee. And he is the perfect manager to confirm that part of the relationship. Because if you don't know, a production manager also has to work directly with management. So I've got a tour manager to validify it. I got a manager to validify it. Then I got somebody that I used to be a backline tech and guitar tech with on different gigs. This guy, Earl Neal, he's Jason Aldean's production manager, Phil Collins, a variety of them. He can confirm all, and so can Howard Hopkins, because he was with the Fray and I toured with. He's Phil Collins. These two production managers can confirm all of the rest of it. And then every single one of them can confirm my character. All of them can confirm my character. Consistently over the years, these references, they all know that they're on my resume. They've all given me the blessing. Actually, they're happy to do it. They're happy to confirm and be on my resume. I've asked them. And again, they all can confirm without even me showing them my resume or telling them what I've put on my resume. If they were asked in a blind test, they could confirm my resume. That's what you want. You want authentic honesty, right? And so let's take a look at the resume in its entirety real quick. So you guys can you see how this looks nice and clean? Pretty sweet, right? This is 20 years of experience on one resume format. So your header, your name, who you are, what you do, how to contact you, and then maybe your social resume. Then what companies and artists have you worked with, and what roles, what responsibilities, what titles have you worn? Okay. Right? Not specifics of skills and experience yet, but what titles have you worn? Then you move into instrument carrying or your gear carrying experience, skills. This is also where if you wanted to put a double column, or if this is 2 columns for you, where you can put your training and education. I'm going to show you another resume that has that section on it. But you can put, this is where all in this section is where you can put training and education. When it comes to training and education, again, you don't have to list, too much information. Just simply put the type of training. Crew coach, touring crew, career coaching is something that you can absolutely put on your resume. You can put any of the tech courses, any of your certifications, any training that's directly relative, you can put on this section right here. And I'm going to show you again a resume that has that section. And then of course, your references that confirm all of the above. That's it. Okay. If you want to put like some design, if you want to put a little picture of yourself, but guys, don't clutter it up to take away from the meat of the matter, because all a tour and a production manager and a management's going to want to do is they want to look at it and they want to go, who is this? What are they going out for? And they want to see some confidence. They want to see like, oh, okay, cool. Right. Great. This is what they've done. Great. Oh, I know somebody that worked for them. Because see, that's another thing. Your references, especially in touring, that's great. They're necessary. But like, this is also references. You guys got to understand something. There's a lot of people that have worked with a lot of the same people you have and will have that can confirm also from the grapevine how you were. Okay. Let me just tell you, I don't just look at these references at the bottom and go, okay, let me call them to confirm this. I will certainly, but I will dig into this or the companies and be like, oh, I know somebody that works with Red Light Management, or I know somebody that works with VIP Nation, or I know somebody that works with, that artist, or somebody that let me reach out to them and just kind of see what they think about this person. Because understand, that's the game. Like it's not just hiring you for a job to do this stuff, right? No, it's like you're being brought in to live with these people in a camp. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more to it than just the work. A lot of people are great at the job, but don't mesh well with the camp. And so sometimes production and tour managers, aside from your references, because they do come from you, they will see if there's any cross connection. Because if they can just hear it from somebody else, then they can go, okay, cool. You worked with this person. Okay, cool. Like this is also a form of reference. So just to let you know, something to consider, right? Let me show you guys. Let me show you a different resume. Let me pull it up here. This one is from a past student of mine. And he probably would not care. He doesn't know that I'm sharing it, but he probably wouldn't care because he's awesome. So this is Juan's resume. Juan, and by the way, Juan was in my program, the Backstage Crew Career Program. He was in that program before the pandemic. And this guy, man, he's inspiring. This guy ends up, his goal was to be a tour manager. Like that's what this resume was about. Okay. Ultimately, he wants to be a tour manager. Okay. But this is where he started with. This was like, after he took my program, this is what he started with. This is the experience he started with. Okay. And so this is what he was leading with. You see the format? I didn't actually review this, by the way. I never reviewed Juan's resume. He recently sent me this. And so, but you can see how clear this is. By the way, I just want to tell you, this resume got Juan the tour manager job. He is now Travis Denning's tour manager, who is a rising country star. Okay. He got in here as like a general guy because of this resume. It's awesome. And because he's awesome. But you can see production assistant, VIP coordinator, and merch seller. By the way, those are 3 roles that do coincide together. All 3 of those roles are roles that you could do at the local level, and they're all symbiotic roles. Like being a merch seller, a production assistant, VIP coordinator, you're kind of like that's kind of like being a stagehand, if you will. Like that's kind of like if you're into production, stagehand. If you're into tour management and merch and that direction of VIP and stuff, then these roles would be sufficient. Does that make sense? These are those kind of like entry level roles. And so he's got that. He's got his email and phone number. And of course, he put his social resume right there on top. Smart. It's smart to do. They're going to look at it anyways. They're going to try to find you anyways. Okay. So then companies, there's the / venues he's worked for and duties. Cool, right? So Live Nation, he put production assistant, VIP assistant, all of that, setup crew. He didn't need to go. If you read that, you can pretty much know what he would have done on the day-to-day, right? VIP Nation, same thing with CID, Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. There was one thing that he did it was a coffee shop, and he used to like help out with the audio at a coffee shop. Okay. It wasn't relative. It was great skills, but it wasn't relative to put on here. It just really wasn't. Maybe if he was trying to become an entry level somewhere, like a stagehand or something, then that could have been a selling point, but not relative on a tour resume. So his skills, you can see that he's put some experience in merch load in and out, confident with math, team player. Hey, you know what though? Some of here you go, at venue, Square, Microsoft. He's just basically like telling what he thinks about himself, which I don't think necessarily is a bad thing. Some of these skills are a little bit fluffy, and I don't necessarily consider him as such. I think he's probably could have leaned into maybe a few of the of some of the skill sets that he's learned as a production assistant and stuff like that. But I mean, he's got Excel, he's got at venue, he's got all the makings of what's required for sure for the positions, and so it's definitely complimentary. Nothing looks negative on here. And then he's got his references, contactable references of people that he's worked with directly that can confirm everything. And they're quality references. They're not like an old boss at Walmart or my old construction supervisor, or my, like my pastor at my church, like none of that stuff. Like, great, but like your uncle, like, hey, trust me, people put that stuff on their resume because they think, okay, well, my uncle can confirm I used to work with him. Actually that happened. Somebody said to me once, they were like, hey, I worked with my uncle as a stagehand. He was our steward. Can I put him down? Sure. Like that makes sense. That's a family member you can put down because he can confirm your stagehand work, right? But you don't just put Uncle Larry. That's like you cut his grass every week and he can like show you. He can be like, oh yeah, he can bring the lawnmower. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys another resume, and this one has this resume has a little bit more. Where is this dang resume? Oh gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. This resume actually is interesting because it actually is something that I created somewhat for a kind of a future. I did this today. I wanted to show you guys some things. I just created this today. I kind of adjusted this resume we were looking at here. Let's show you here. So you can see how you can actually add a lot more to these things, because I want you guys to really see that, like, even if you come with a lot of experience, you can really add a lot to these things. Okay, so this was a tour and production manager resume that I adjusted to kind of make it really full so you can see how much you can actually put on these things and they still look clean. Okay. And so header, right? They can contact me, as well as there's my social. Same thing. The header's big, man. Here's some of those artists that I worked with, as well as some production companies that I worked with in Atlanta. Okay. I just wanted to show you guys how some of this could look. Okay. Maybe your resume has some of that. And, maybe it is like freelance artist as well as some lighting or some companies, right? I don't know, because as an LD or, as an audio engineer, you might have been a freelancer directly for an artist, but also worked with, Claire Brothers or whomever, right? So maybe you do need a second column, but you can make a second column look right on these things. Okay. Here's some more different types of skills. These are actually real skills. I brain dumped skills just to kind of bring it out to see if I can really kind of think of some of the things that I know as that could be relative to tour management, production management, and backline. Did I put backline up? Yeah, backline. And so I took off all the instrument stuff, because the reason why, if I was actually creating a tour production and backline, like I could put backline guitar tech on here, but if you notice, I added a lot more stage manager roles on this section. because I was putting more production management focus, tour and production management. And if you notice on the other resume I was showing you, backline was first. Always put first what you're going after. In this one, I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to create a tour and production manager resume, then I would put this first. And then this is how I would kind of lay out some of that, lay out some of these work history and skills. So check this out. There's Vectorworks, basic Vectorworks, by the way, freaking Vectorworks, God. Labor coordination and hiring, truck packing, endorsement relations, tour vendor relations, production advancing, tour and production budgeting, stage plot pro proficient. And then I summarized my production experience in this resume. I put advanced experience in design in audio, lighting, video staging, rigging, pyro, and automation. I did that because I thought, well, hey, as a production manager, like I do have experience in all of those things. I do have design experience. I actually, the Amos Lee tour, the SEAL tour, I've actually had a hand at taking vision and helping design it. And so I summarized that on the production skills, as I put production skills, because then here's another type of skills: sales, marketing, business skills, and experience. I thought on the tour manager side of things. Now, I'm not saying that this is a resume that I would straight up submit per se as a tour manager. I certainly could. This is a lot of experience to bring to the table as a tour manager, but I'm just kind of showing you guys how much depth that you can actually put on these one pagers. Okay. Look at this. I am an expert in Facebook ads and, all of this stuff, right? Like I'm just dumping some of these, what could be right for, say, the tour manager position. This also could be right for a production company or an account rep. If you're trying to get off the road and trying to become an account rep, maybe. I was thinking about that. So you could list a lot of these things and then reach out to those companies and try to become an account rep if you wanted to on the other side of touring. And affiliations and dealer. I just wanted to think of another section, something else that I for backline and maybe even production management, some of these managers might think, oh, that's cool, he's got relationships. And I was the artist relations and a dealer for all of these companies. And so some of those, just kind of showing them the relationships that you have, could be a section to put on there. I'm not saying to do a resume like this. I'm just showing you sections, guys. And then training and education. Here's some pertinent education for me relative to, let's just say, if I was reaching out for like account rep or tour management. And then here's some of those same contactable references. So I just wanted to, again, to show you that, like, and this header is huge, but look at that. That's a lot of information on one page. You know what I mean? And it actually reads well. It's pleasant to look at. It's very informative. If you're a hiring person and you were seeing this, you're like, okay, awesome. Because again, you're not trying to sell yourself on these resumes, guys. You're not trying to sell yourself. You're just trying to mark your stamp of credibility. You're just making a statement with this. You're not trying to sell yourself with it. You're just trying to open the door. The next thing that you want from these resumes is a phone call. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a phone call. You're looking for somebody to say, oh, interesting. You know what I mean? So you don't want to give them so much, but you also want to give them the pertinent amount of information. You don't want them to have to filter through all of the paragraphs of your responsibilities from the different roles that you've done. And like, you don't want them to, they're not going to read it. Trust me, like they're not going to read it. I can't tell you how many resumes that I've gotten that I go 2 page. Nah, not that one. It's just too much, man. And it just goes to show of what they really just don't understand about themselves and how they want to present themselves, and you can tell a competent resume. A competent resume is like that one with, like I showed you with Juan, where he's like, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is where I've done it. And this is who you can talk to confirm it. All you're trying to do with your resume is get on a phone call. That's it. So how you do that, because it's a part of the conversation. And so I want to show you the social resume. We're going to use me as an example at the moment. All right, guys. So this is actually something that nobody but me teaches. And the reason why is because people don't look at it like this. And to me, I've gotten gigs from social media. I've been considered for gigs from social media, not because I've posted, hey, I'm looking for gigs. Okay. That's not social resume. Posting on Facebook saying, hey, if anyone's hiring, I'm available, is not what I'm talking about. Social resume is basically your literal media resume. It's your resume that people get to experience, not just read, but they get to experience your character, your personality that you put out there. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, but I post all my private stuff and, I don't want anybody to. Here's the thing. You do what you want, but they're going to ask. They're going to look. They want to know now. They can. A production and tour manager would be a fool to bring someone on the bus these days, knowing that they could have seen a video of them. They could have seen their personality now. We're not getting hired to do skill jobs. We're getting hired to come bring all of us and do the jobs. Like, we got to bring our character, our values, our morals, and all that stuff. And how better to do that than to look at people's socials? And let me just tell you, production and tour managers, they all do it. All of them look at your social media. They try to find as much as possible. And if you're trying to hide your social media, all they're going to see is your cover photo, your profile photo, and a little bit of your about. So they're at least going to see that much. But why not show them? Why not let them in? Because if they hire you, they're going to know anyways. They're going to really intimately know about you. And so you want to be able to be considered beyond anything, beyond anybody else, right? And so what I like to do is I put my Facebook out there. Now my Facebook is public. Okay. I have it public. I don't care. I never post anything that I am embarrassed by. I'm not going to post anything that I wouldn't have anyone else need to see. But more importantly, though, social resume is about intentionally posting. Okay. Especially when you're sending resumes out. And this is what I mean by that. If you're sending resumes out, you know for a fact they're going to look at your social. So that's a good opportunity to share with them, to dig a little bit deeper into the validity of who you are. And so, for instance, if someone were to go, oh, Kenny Barnwell, let's see, what is this guy? Okay, cool. And they're looking at my resume and they go, oh, Facebook. Well, it's clear that now in my case, I want you to understand something. Okay. This is my social resume. All right. But my intention is to not get hired as a guitar tech or a backline tech anymore on my social resume. My intention is to get universities, to get you people like yourself, to get other crew people, to get speaking gigs, and to get new crew coach members. That's my two missions. Get speaking gigs, which is really just about leading people to crew coach, and then getting crew coach members. Okay. That's my whole mission for my social resume. If your mission is video or lighting or backline or whatever that might be, then put that up there. So your cover photo should tell the story. You can clearly show that I am a production expert and I'm a speaker. Wouldn't you say that? That's pretty straightforward. I'm a production expert, become a specialist, and I'm a speaker on stage. You can clearly see that I've spoke on stage. That cover photo, if a university professor comes in that could potentially hire me to come speak to their students, looks at this Facebook page, they go, oh, he speaks, right? Instant credibility. Now, the idea is I'm going to get these people that I want to see my social to see it. Just like you with production and tour managers and management companies, they're going to look at your social because you're sending your resumes out now. Okay. So your cover photo, if it's video engineering, man, put your world up there. If it's merch, put your merch world up there. If it's guitar teching, put your world up there. Put your interest. Maybe you say, well, dude, I'm still a stagehand. I don't have that specialty yet. Good. Google a picture of production or one that you've taken on your phone and put production up there. Let people know that you're in the game. When they look at you, one click, and if they don't scroll down anymore, they know, oh, okay, this person's in the industry. It's very clear when people are in the industry. You know what I mean? And so this cover photo should reflect that. Your profile photo, guys, this one people will get wrong. You can see I've got my world, I've got a straight picture that I'm smiling, right? I'm not a cartoon. I'm not hiding. I'm not looking the other way. I don't have a crazy filter. It's like, it's me. It's straight up. I'm looking, I'm smiling, I'm not wearing sunglasses. Like, it's straight up. They can actually see what I look like. Your intro, your bio, it should literally state what you do. You just like your resume. It should state, and in my case, author, speaker. I'm a career growth coach, 20 years touring backstage crew. And of course, I add a little bit of personal stuff on there. Proud husband, proud dad, because that's part of me. That's part of who I am. But even those two hashtags tells a lot about my character. If they're going to look, they're going to go like, oh, okay, proud dad, proud husband. Cool. You know, tells everything. In my case, I've got my websites, my speaking website, my concert production company. You know, I've got like all of those on here, you know, my crew coach site. Right. And then, now this used to be like this before. This right here, this photo section, by the way, guys, this is called your featured photos. You can actually adjust these. I removed all of my featured photos, but you can actually adjust these photos and have them very specifically placed on here. So just to let you know, you can actually choose which photos you want people to see, which is yet another layer of social resume. And then what I recommend, guys, what I recommend for your social resume, make sure you put your town and stuff where you're from too. And is to take the first 12 posts and make sure the first 12 posts, 10 to 12 posts, are relevant posts that you want someone to see. Because if someone comes, looks at your page, or they friend you, you've got their attention for about 4 to 5 days before the algorithm starts shifting their attention, unless they start to actually show interest in you, and then it lengthens. But what if you can catch their attention and keep their attention and begin to develop a relationship? Not just like through communication, but just through your post. You can literally develop a relationship with someone just by what you post. How many people do you know on social that you follow because of what they post? You have a relationship with that person. You follow them, you look at their stuff because of what they post. Well, imagine if the hiring party saw that you were posting about a gig, saw that you were posting about a new software, saw that you were like sharing a win on a gig, show that you're, you know, showing up to crew coach, you know, career coaching sessions, right? Like all of these things. Could you imagine what a hiring person would say? And so here's what I want to say. Like, imagine this as a resume. Say I'm trying to get more crew coach members, which is what this is for speaking engagements, but say crew coach members. If you are looking into who this guy Kenny Barnwell was that people keep talking about doing this crew coach thing, and you've never heard of me before, and you're like, what is this all about? You would go, oh, okay, become a specialist. Okay, he's a speaker. Okay, gears guitar. All right. Okay, what is it? He's an author, speaker. Oh, okay. You know, some validity. And then they start looking at my post, and they're just like, oh, the touring resume workshop. You know, and then it's like, oh, there's a win from one of our members, and then it shows me touring. You know, it shows me doing coaching sessions. It shows me actually working. You know, there's like, this is about as personal as it gets. You see what I'm saying? Like, and it's minimal. And even this right here shows that I'd probably be pretty cool on the bus. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not like, you know, I'm not blaming anything. I'm not getting identity and political. It shows some validity, right? Some more crew coach stuff. It shows that we're, you know, on the Entrepreneur on Fire podcast, right? If you were somebody that was interested in crew coach, or I was trying to get to be interested in crew coach, this would pretty much tell the story. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Now imagine if this was relative to you, if your social resume was relative to you. So here's what happens, guys. Let's just say we're trying to use our social resume aside from like the hiring parties going in there to, you know, check you out and all of that. What about making new relationships with your social resume? Okay. This is powerful stuff, guys. So here's how you do it. All right. I'm going to show you this. This is a ninja tactic. This is how you get yourself into circles on social. But you have to have your page set up first. You have to have your cover photo, your profile photo, your about right, and you need to have that first 10 to 12 posts correct. They need to sell it. They need to validify you, right? Because here's what you do. Let's just say we go to, I don't know, what's a group? I'm not in a lot of these roadie groups anymore. By the way, let me see. Basketball club. Oh, everything stage lighting. Am I in this one? Okay. Okay. Let's just say that we're in a group. Okay. And I'm interested in people that might be interested in what I've got going on. And let's just this is the everything stage lighting group, but I'm a career coach, right? And I'm trying to get people that might maybe join Crew Coach one day from this group. Or if it was you and you're a video person or a lighting person, you just want to connect with potentially pros or people that, that you find interesting in this group. Well, what I would do is I would search this group and I would say something like, career change. I don't know. I'm just looking up. Is there anything has anyone ever talked about a career change? Well, back in January, somebody's like, my career. Somebody talked about this. I'm just looking here, right? So I got a question. I was a stagehand for 10 years in IATSE. I never made the E-list. Okay, whatever. Thanks for the, so how do I get on tour? How do I get on tour? Okay. This guy, TJ Burge. All right. Well, okay. Right now he's an OTR commercial truck driver. So that means he might've gotten on the road by now. I don't know. Okay. But TJ, he would be somebody I would go, okay, well, dude, he's already saying, how do I get on tour? That's my thing, right? Or if it was about lighting or video or whomever, I would go, man. So then I would send old TJ a friend request. Let's do it. I don't know, man. So let's send old TJ Birch a friend request. All right. So then what happens? So here we go. I'm just, looking at some of these posts. Anybody in this crew, people have questions about some specific. So here's a question about, well, no, just keep going. So people asking questions of, there's a lot of lighting stuff, right? So, but how about this? How about I put how to get on tour? Okay, I want to search the group if anybody has asked how to get on tour. Here's a question for some of y'all. I would love to tour at some point as an LD. Now, it's 2019. I don't know if this guy's been on tour, but he's literally saying, how do I get started on tour? Well, guess what, old Josh? I'm going to send you. He's the LD now at Billy Bob's. Okay, so he hasn't made it on tour yet. But I'm going to go and friend him. Okay, now I want you guys to just give it a minute. Now, it might not happen that we get these friend requests accepted, but here's what's going to happen. Okay. They're going to go, who the heck is Kenny Barnwell? First thing that they're going to do when they say, who the heck is Kenny Barnwell? They are going to go, they're going to, well, where is it? Well, they're going to hover over my name. And when they hover over my name, it's going to show my cover photo. It's going to show my about, and it's going to show my profile photo. Is that enough to get them to go, yes to the friend request, or I want to learn a little more? Yes to the friend request, or I want to learn a little more. Okay. Maybe they want to check you out. Well, then what happens? They look at you. They go, oh, this person's oh yeah, this is definitely somebody I'm interested in. Like, oh, this okay. This person seems cool. They're going to probably look at the mutual friends and they're going to go, well, who do we have mutual friends with? Right. Some of these people you just saw, I friended them. We had a couple of mutual friends, let's see another group. Let's just say like a backline group. Okay. Here we go. Backline talk. I'm in this backline group and I never hardly go in here. So, but let's just see if anybody's talked about tour or, oh, hey, I have in that group. Yeah. So something up on her, somebody's talking about some backline stuff. Who knows? Hold on, guys. I want you guys to see this. This is very fascinating stuff. Okay. So anyways, any of these people, I know some of these people, but let's just say I don't remembering him. And so if I were to friend any of these people, same thing. They're going to go to they're going to go to my page and they're going to see who I am and what I'm all about. Why this matters to you? I was hoping that this would actually happen while we were here on this live. It actually still might happen. Is one of those two people that I just sent a friend request to is most likely going to accept the friend request, and I'll let y'all know if it happens. And it's because again, of social resume. Can you see how powerful this is? Once when I friend request them, guys, once when I get them into my world, I've got them. I have the ability at that point to be able to like make new posts that might speak directly to them. And it's not about being inauthentic or salesy or anything like that. It is just about utilizing the resources that you have to put your best foot forward and to get considered for something in the future, or to connect with people. Maybe it's production managers. Like let's just say you start friending production managers. You can see production managers all over Facebook. You start friending production managers, then what happens? You don't go into the messenger and just start saying, hey, thanks for the friend request. I just want to say hi, and I'm this person, I'm that person, I'm a video person, I'm a lighting. Don't do that. Use your post. Take advantage of the attention that you have. Let it happen. It's a relationship. You don't have to come right out of the gate strong and say, hey, I just want you to look at my resume. Like just get them into your world and talk and communicate and be you, but also be intentional, because know that if, depending on what you post, it allows you to be deeper into the relationship with these people. I just want to remind you guys of you sitting here right now is because of social resume. I got you. Think about it. The reason why you're in Crew Coach now is because I got you. I showed you my validity. I brought you into my world. I built a relationship with you. I communicated with you, not just through DMs and stuff, but through my posts, through my content, through the intentional pushing stuff out. I did that intentionally because I have something to offer you guys with Crew Coach, but you have something to offer these production and tour managers and these managers. You have you to offer. Okay. And so understand that you don't have to use social resume, but if you do, man, if you do, it is a very, 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 very powerful tool to leverage to complement your written resume. You know what I mean? And so imagine that. Imagine, you have your social resume and it's consistent and intentional. And then you've got your written resume. Someone that's potentially wanting to hire you checks it out, right? And then they have the opportunity. There we go. Then they have the opportunity to really get to know you, to like you and trust you. Because that's the thing, guys. People like to work with people that they know, like, and trust. People like to refer people that they know, like, and trust. But they have to get to know you, to like you enough to trust the decision to want to, further the relationship, and that's how this works. You know what I mean? That's how this works. I've gotten so many opportunities because over time I brought people into my Facebook world or my social media world, and I built relationships with them through posts, through content, through DM. And again, whether you realize it or not, it's why you're here in Crew Coach. Because of all of my social resume stuff, I brought you in and it was able to help you. And I just want you guys to know that you can do the exact same thing with your actual relationships with touring. So does that make sense? Awesome. All right. Well, that's really about it, guys.
So, okay. You said in the company/artist worked with, specifically training under the subheader training education. Would you say we need to list our colleges and degrees, or that doesn't even matter at this point?
Well, I mean, fact of the matter is it's not going to be something that sells you, but if you're going to put training on there, you might as well. I mean, it can't hurt, I mean, especially if you're going out as a video engineer. It might be different if you're going out as a tour manager to a management company. They might like to be like, oh, they get a degree, it just depends on who you're talking to. A production manager ain't gonna give a damn. But
yeah, that's what I was like.
But it can't hurt to put it on there. If you've got other training to complement it, slap that degree in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. So words like basic under the 2-column experience and skills, words like basic and proficient are necessary or optional?
Look, man, this is all optional, but what I would suggest that you do is you lead them to understand the level of your proficiency, So
Yeah.
are you a basic? Are you proficient? Are you an expert? If you're going to just put Ableton, well, that doesn't really let them know, and it might put you into a pickle. It might get you
Okay.
into a situation where it's like, oh, shoot, like this is a serious Ableton gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, shoot,
Yeah.
this is like a little bit more than just pressing space bar and flying in some stems. You know what I
Right.
mean? But
Yeah.
maybe I should have specified basic Ableton from the start. That's what I
Okay. And then do you have a set number on how many things we should list out for both columns?
No,
Okay.
just don't add anything unnecessary, and put everything that you think could work, for the different columns: training, gear, skills. Sometimes, like I said, you can merge skills and gear.
Okay. Now, but personal question for me, I pretty much started the touring resume, but the situation with Solo Tech. Do I need to list them at all?
Of course.
I wouldn't list the tour, but I could list
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, because
Okay.
you're still on their freelance roster.
Yeah.
They're just not calling you right now.
Right.
And so, yeah, absolutely. And you can just put 2022 to current,
Okay.
freelance video director, engineer, you know.
Now, if they ask about it, just go ahead and tell them and then just let it be.
They're probably not going to ask about it. That's
Okay.
what I want you to understand is the resume opens the door to conversation. It's like they're probably not going to pick that apart,
Okay.
But the cool thing is it doesn't matter if they do, because it's all good. Like you'll just merely tell them, oh yeah, I did the Lizzo gig, and then I got sick and unfortunately couldn't go back out to finish that. That was about it. Like
Okay.
that's it.
Yeah.
It's that
I mean, I
simple.
don't see it as a big deal, but
It's not a
I've,
big deal. It's not a
yeah.
big deal. But you definitely want to put Solotech on there because it is a step that you took, and it is something that you earned, and it should go on your resume.
Okay. I think that's all I have.
You sure? We'll come back if you need it. Thomas, how about you? You got any questions? Dave, Caitlin, any of you guys have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but that was super helpful.
Awesome, man. That's great. Dave, so good to see you, by the way, back in the crew, coach.
Yeah, dude. I was at my daughter's soccer game, listening with my earbud in.
Hey, by the way, Dave, you were in my Backstage Crew career program, right?
Yes.
You weren't even in crew coach. Oh.
Well, I'm not sure which one was which.
Oh. Yeah, you were in the first. Wow. Well, good to see you, man. Awesome.
Yeah, you too, man.
Awesome. Thomas, no questions, you said?
No, it was kind of a refresher from the course a few weeks ago, but it was still good. You threw a couple new things in there I liked. I'm gonna work on the resume tonight and possibly tonight or tomorrow. I'll send it over. I'll DM you and Volley like you mentioned, and we kind of revise it, go over it, and go from there.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I know that you were stoked about that when we did that in the masterclass. But yeah, I just wanted to elaborate a lot more. And of course, social resume. Trust me, guys, y'all might be rolling your eyes with the damn social resume, but it is the most effective thing. And it is something that can stop people from getting hired. I can't tell you how many people that I personally see on social and I go, would not want to be on a bus with them. I would not want to be on a bus with them. I don't care about how great of an engineer or a tech they are. Not interested to be on a bus with them. And I've actually made decisions like that, guys. Literally, I made decisions like that as a production manager, where like someone's like, well, what about this guitar tech? It's like, sorry, I just don't think that person's quality, or at least that's what they're showing on their social, and I'm not interested. That's not drama that I'm bringing on the bus for anyone. So there were some parts I wasn't able to hear. Yeah. So on your training section, what I would do is I would put crew coach dash touring crew career coaching. That's what I would put. Crew coach, touring crew career coaching. No other questions, guys? And any other questions about your design, header, the body, the skill sets section? You're welcome. Nothing? Cool.